All right, that is also the same story that is making headlines in our local dailies. Of course, in our standard, that headline there is Lords of Impunity. And you can see pictures of Inspector General Joseph Boinnet, Interior CS Fred Matiangi, and Immigration PS Gordon Kihalangwa. And of course, joining me in studio today to dissect some of those issues, to my immediate right is Dekio Mukoba, who is a communications strategist, and next to her is Oliver Kipchumba, who is an advocate. Thank you very much for making time to come. So I'll start with the fact that, one, he's been deported again. We've seen the state disobeying orders once again. He was in a toilet for 3 days. Like, even if someone has done something wrong, a toilet, isn't that just inhuman, even for the state?
I think this whole scenario from the very first day that Miguna landed in was definitely not unfair, and it was not going to be carried in any unfair, fair, way.
Yeah.
And so the way they handled him, to how, he was, whatever he was being held, which is something that we don't even know. It's just that we rely on some of these pictures that are, are coming out from whichever part. Yeah. So this entire scenario was not right to begin with. And so now he's been deported back, and this was almost expected, because as we said yesterday, that it becomes very difficult when one person puts up a fight against an entire state which is not bent on obeying the rule of law. So this was definitely meant, this was definitely something that maybe would have come up at some point, that Miguna would just be deported out of the country again. All
right, Oliver, your thoughts on this?
First of all, the whole situation is unfortunate. The standoff was uncalled for. I think it was the little things that were overlooked that have brought us where we are. First of all, it was as simple as just presenting a passport. That is where the whole thing began.
Yeah.
And it has now metamorphosized so fast to other things, which I think we need to relook at a lot of things as a nation. We need to relook at how some engagements are done to avoid us. We don't know now. We had been given, or we have been given, status as an international airport where people can fly direct to the US.
Yeah.
I don't know where that leaves us now. So those are the things we need to look at our action. What other things might they cause that might affect the daily living of Kenya?
So do you think he should have just, given his passport?
From where I sit, I think it was just simple. And what we are losing in the facts from the whole thing is what were the orders. The order said that he should be facilitated with a Kenyan passport. The other order, the other link was he should be allowed to enter Kenya using his Canadian passport. That is where now we have lost the whole part. But coming to the issues of court orders, it cannot be stated more than it has already been stated, that court orders must be obeyed. A rule of law is one of the values under Article 10 that this country subjects itself to. We cannot have a two-way about it.
We are seeing our leaders defying orders. So what makes people think, citizens, if Fred Matiangi, the Interior CS, can do it, why can't I do it? Because that is what people are asking. What makes it so different? I mean, these are the same people who we voted or, gave those posts to and, trusted them to guide us in this country. And here we are seeing them disobeying court orders. So what is so different if I do it?
Yeah, and of course there's an order for them to appear before the court today, and we will wait to see if that happens. That would be nice, because maybe they would be able to redeem themselves. But of course we've had a series of people in leadership disobeying court orders, and this is something that has continued to be seen, and it's very unfortunate, because then what happens to us as a nation, because we subscribe to the rule of law, we are not a country that is governed, by nothing, or we just don't run around the streets. There is a law and there is a strategy for which we follow follow as a nation. So I think it is extremely, extremely important for those in leadership, especially beginning at the very top, the people who are responsible for this entire thing, to be able to submit themselves to the rule of law so that they appear in court for the sake of this nation. And I think we are not going in the right direction if we allow this to continue to happen, because then how are we going to govern ourselves? Are we going to govern ourselves by what anybody or anyone wants? We have to submit to the rule of law. These court orders must be obeyed.
And Justice Odunga said something. There is no immunity for impunity. No man is above the law. They cannot be allowed to catwalk around while disobeying court orders. This is not the first time. So, and not the second time either. So clearly they have been already allowed to catwalk and disobey orders. So what if today they don't show up? Then what next?
I think, as my co-panelist has said, we wait and see. But we cannot conclude that they have already disobeyed court orders. What we can just say is that they ought to be there today so that the law or the rule of law is seen to be working. And as Justice Odunga stated, nobody is above the law, and the law is the law. What we need to get is just to make sure that everybody subjects themselves to the whims of the law without much ado. And at the end of the day, we must create a society whereby everybody, their rights and their obligations are within the social fabric, whereby your right and my right do not collide. That's why everybody must be seen to be subjecting themselves to court orders. And that's why we said court orders must be respected. From here, there is another effect. If the three do not turn up in court, the thing might take another different angle. And as I was reading the order yesterday, there are things I could see. The criminality of the emergence of the criminality. It has been personalized. It's no longer about the state, but about the three of them. So I think they need to do something towards that direction. And also, by them acting, they will help the normal Kenyan to believe in the rule of law, that these court orders can be respected. And also, I think we will be missing the fact to say the government has always disobeyed court orders. More than enough. The government has always obeyed court orders, and the records are there.
Always. Always. Have they always obeyed court orders, as you say?
Yes, they have.
All right, okay. But either way, Miguna has already been deported. So even if they show up, how can they help him? Will he be brought back?
If they show up, then the judge is, of course, given the responsibility and charged with the responsibility of giving the way forward in what needs to be done. That would be a good step if they show up. Then from there, then they would be able to listen to what is the next step that will be given. And we still have to come back to the fact that if we allow ourselves to be let go at the masses of maybe the executive or the masses of just politicians, it will not be right with us. At the end of the day, each and every one of us enjoys rights and freedoms because there are rules, not because of a person, because there are rules that we all submit to. So this has to be reinforced again and again and again, that we are not in the masses of anyone. People come into leadership and they leave. But if we destroy structures and destroy institutions that are put in place to run this country in the right direction, we will not have a country to live in, not for ourselves and not for generations to come. So I think that it is prudent